Ladies and gentlemen, every now and then, you see something on your timeline, you see something on your Instagram reels, on your TikTok feed, or on YouTube. It just makes you say, that's enough internet for today. What I am about to show you is the chess equivalent of that. And I would like to apologize. What I'm about to show you is going to make you laugh, cry, potentially cause nausea, as well as a litany of other side effects. But it is going to be so freaking awesome. Before I show you today's game, a quick word from sponsored Gotham. Today's video is sponsored by Chomps. Chomps are 100% grass-fed beef jerky sticks. And these things are amazing. And I love these because they're the perfect snack. They've got good flavor, they've got some health benefits, and in case it isn't obvious, they're super portable. For example, I can eat one right here while making a video, or I can take one on the go with me when I'm walking around running errands in New York City, when I'm traveling and I don't want to spend $10,000 for a cheeseburger at an airport, or if I'm at a sports venue and I'm watching my favorite New York team not qualify to the finals again. And Chomps have 10 to 12 grams of protein per stick. They've also got no sugar, and they come in a bunch of flavors. This is the original beef, but there's also jalapeno, original turkey, and more. Folks, I gotta tell you, I'm extra excited for the sponsor today. You absolutely should try Chomps. And at this point, you know how it works. Go click on my link in the description to learn more. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna finish my chomp stick, but let's get back to the video. Shout out, as always, to the inimitable, handsome, and talented sponsored Gotham. Now, my friends, this is going to be quite a wild ride. Our protagonists are named Monkey and Wicher, and I believe that is the word for wind in Polish. And I gave them photos of Magnus and Hikaru, their profile photos, because they deserve them for making it into a Gotham Chess video. And that's about all they deserve. So this game, I don't have an introduction. This game was chaos until the very end. It opened up with pawn to d4, pawn to e6, and a London opening. So far, so good. It's only up from here. Except black plays queen to f6. I get it. We're at the beginner level. But I need everybody to who is watching this right now, and it's potentially hundreds of thousands of you. If we get lucky, this video will hit the algorithm. It might be millions. Stop bringing your queen out so early. I don't care if it works. It's gonna stop working. And if you wanna have any future in chess, you're gonna have to stop bringing the queen out. I also have a video on how to deal with nonsense like this. Pawn to e3. What I don't have a video on is how to deal with nonsense like king to d8. The Polish Grandmaster, rated 500 now, walks the king to where the queen just was. I guess the queen got out of bed, the spot was still warm, so, you know, king decides to go to d8. That move does not make any sense, and now the queen comes back, and I suppose they were trying to swap places. I don't exactly know what was happening here, because instead of swapping places, the Polish phenom finds queen to b4 check, which in its purest form is a fork. It attacks b2, it attacks e1, and one may say you are going to chomp down the pawn on b2. You see that? Because we got chomps. I'm so clever. Sponsors love me. No, but it's really good. So is winning a pawn. Now, the reason this position is not immediately winning for black is because even though black wins a pawn, white has literally everything developed, and black cannot castle, and black has nothing developed, and so white is winning, despite being full pawn down. Now, instead of that, we have pawn to c3, and instead of playing knight bd2 right away, white plays knight bd2 now, and proceeds to lose 2 pawns. And even though you are down 2 pawns, you are still winning. Because you actually cannot even take this bishop, because of knight e5, with attacks on f7, if queen f5, you have g4. If this, you have bishop g5. You can win the queen. So, terrible. Now, what you don't want to do here, you don't want to play this move. The move you don't want to play here is this. I'm going to chew my food just to let that move sit on the board for a second. So this is 500 level chess. The first, 7 moves, you kind of play like a grandmaster. Then you play like someone that just got kicked in the head by a horse, right? You play queen to c2. And queen c2 is bad for 2 reasons. The first reason, the more advanced reason, is that when you are down 2 pawns, you should not be trading your most powerful piece. You need the queen. The second reason, which the horse that just kicked you in the head can actually learn, is that you just straight up hang a rook. Just a pure rook. Now the craziest part is, here's the craziest part. This is obviously good for black, because black is up a rook and 2 pawns. But the engine thinks that after king to e2, black is lost, because despite being up 12 points of material, white, by a miracle of God, has queen takes c7 check, king to e8, queen c8, king e7, bishop d6, sacrificing a bishop. If king takes, queen c5 is mate, so you can't do that, so you go king f6, queen d8, knight e7, and bishop e5. Just because there is a mate in 5 on the board does not mean it's really mate in 5. At this level, mate in 5 is not findable. It's like dropping these people in a country where there is no mutual language. They're not going to be able to communicate, all right? So they're not, it's hopeless, all right? So the more advanced reason is you shouldn't trade pieces when you're losing, especially your most powerful piece. The other reason is you just lost a rook. 99 times out of 100, losing that rook is going to be bad. This is one where it's a miracle, and you can, white continues to try to trade the queen. Now white is losing. It's like my favorite thing. Just, it shoots up, and then you make a move. Black doesn't trade. Terrible. Of course you trade with black. You're up 7 points. Like, you're up a rook, and you just don't even think. Just take the queen, because without the enemy queen, what are they going to do to you? But you keep the queen on the board. White gives a check. Again, I would get the king out of the center here. I would castle. You know what I would not do is I would not find myself in a situation where I might have to trade more pieces. And obviously, we've learned from the previous mistake, which is when you're down a lot of material, you really don't want to make equal trades. Which is exactly what white proceeds to do. Black plays knight takes e7. Now, you are not going to mate anybody if your king is still in the center, because you're not even going to be able to get your rook in. You're just going to play games with 4 pieces while the other side has all their pieces. But I don't hate the next move. The next move is knight to e5. Obviously, you got to do something, right? You can't just sit around. I like knight e5. Makes a forward move, creates a threat. The problem is black can just very simply protect it. But this is a concept called continuity. That rook used to defend that pawn, and white slyly snaps it off the board. Of course, it's a horrendous move, but for this level, it's not. Now, it's horrendous because the bishop is just trapped. I mean, it'll never leave. And you want to avoid, again, you're going to learn something. You really want to be careful strolling to the corners of the board with your bishops, if you ever have them, because they can very easily get locked away. You get a bishop in, it's like hand in the cookie, like Venus flytrap. Boom. That's it. You're stuck. And that's actually what happens. And finally, white decides that it's time to castle. Of course, at the completely worst moment possible, because that's 500 level chess, white proceeds to castle, and now the king no longer defends the knight, right? Piece moves, no longer defends the thing it used to protect. And remember that a few moves ago, you went knight e5. I was advocating for castling before you went knight e5, when this knight protected this knight, and the queen protected the bishop. So you unremoved one defender, right? You removed those plastic things you can put in the outlets for babies, right? So the babies don't stick their fingers in. Then you proceeded to remove all the guards and shove 3 forks in the outlet, right? Like that's, zap yourself, all right? Not fatally, but enough to scare you, right? So now, okay. So faced with the proposition to take a 100% free knight, it is adjacent. There is no room. They are standing like this. There is no space between them. Faced with the prospect of just taking the knight for free, black gets a little bit of tunnel vision. Remember, they just played pawn to g6, so they have tunnel vision. They go here, And now they are losing. And they are losing because they got tunnel vision to hit the bishop, right? But they forgot that the rook went there with a reason. So you remember a couple of moves ago, you moved the rook there because the knight was attacking, right? So now you're like, oh, now you're gonna lose a full rook and a pawn back, and now you're losing again because that was your whole material advantage. Even if this is possible, I'm gonna get to your king, so you're just losing now. Unfortunately for both players, but very fortunate for us, the audience, when the rook went there to attack the bishop, white was like, well, I'm gonna lose my bishop. So I'm gonna do the logical thing, which is sacrifices for a pawn, right? I mean, obviously, otherwise I'm gonna lose it for free. The logic is there, but there was something better, and there was something better from 2 moves ago, but, you know, that's hard to... Now, again, knight f7 is possible, and it's the exact same distance, it's the exact same direction, but white gets more tunnel vision and takes on g6. Now, you will remember, what was my feedback? My feedback was, it's a bad idea to trade the pieces, right? Yeah, so now, you know, white is down a lot. White's still down the 7 points. The only thing that is keeping this position not being dead lost, and this is one of the most important ways to evaluate a chess position, is the king's safety. One king is behind 3 pawns. One king is wide open. I mean, queen f6 is a lethal move. So actually, the best move here is for black to go pawn c6. And then run the king to safety, and then lose the rook for the knight, but now black is totally winning because, yeah, you can give a check, you can give a nope, and now black is safe. And slowly black gets their pieces out and black wins the game. So in chess, the 2 most important things are material and king safety, okay? And being higher rated than your friend. So the problem in this game is now we have rook e8, and now it's a draw. So again, why is it a draw? Because queen f6, the only way to protect the king is rook e7. Queen f8, rook e8. Every single good player here plays queen f8 and makes a draw. Why? Because you're down a bishop. You're not just down a bishop, by the way. You're also down a rook. You're straight up down a bishop and a rook. You can't play for a win here. It's not possible. But at this level, oh, you can definitely play for a win. I would recommend getting the knight out, getting the rook out. I mean, black is nowhere close. They've got 5 pieces on the back rank, and just because those pieces are there does not mean they're going to be put to use. So white plays knight to e4. That move is fine. I like that move. The engine doesn't like it because, again, it wanted to make a draw. But now, after queen b4, there is no draw because of queen e7, at which point black will then get all their pieces out and win the game. But I wish we had a Stockfish filter, and we could tell Stockfish, hey, these players are 500. And then Stockfish would be smart enough to be like, oh, then it's like +1. Wouldn't that be genius? I think like that's a genius concept. An engine that knows the elo of the players and using historical data can basically evaluate what's going to happen next. I mean, it's kind of all over the place, but it is an interesting point. Knight e4, queen d3, pinning the knight to the queen. It's a draw again, obviously. It's a draw, but we play pawn to f3. Pawn f3 is a nice move because it blunders 2 pawns immediately. Obviously, then it would be a draw, but we're just assuming that that's, you know, perpetual is just not going to happen. And now black plays d5. Again, it is a draw, but here's something brilliant happens. Absolutely genius. White realizes that if they move the knight, they're going to lose the queen. That's already very good. So what do? They give a check. And it's a draw again. It's a draw because the best move for black is to block, at which point you repeat moves. And that's what happens. Now black should go here and the game ends in a draw. But black decides, why would I do that? King d7. And suddenly, the knight not only can move, but can deliver the kiss of death. Knight c5 check. Oh my, oh dear God. Oh dear God. Oh my. And now when the king moves to c6, white takes on d3. And you take a bite of your chomps, and you sit back and go, plan the whole thing. And now, black is cooked. Because not only is black down a queen, black never got the pieces out. This is threatening this, and the rook is coming from the other side. So it's over. Bishop d7. If I'm playing with white here, I just play rook c1. Just bring the rook. I don't know what it's going to do yet. Maybe it's going to go along d8, right? You gotta use your pieces from the other side. I don't hate knight e5 check. King d6. Now, I mean, we're so close to a mate. You play queen f8. Black can't move a single piece. Black just straight up can't move a single piece. But all right, now we play rook c1. Rook e8. Knight f7 check. One piece of advice I would like to give when trying to beat somebody is weave a mating net instead of giving checks. If there is no clear benefit to a check, do not give it. If a king has limited defenses, weave a mating net. Now the king has no escape, and knight f7 is checkmate. It's mate. If rook e7, you play something like here, or knight g6 and queen e5, like weave a mating net. Take the squares away slowly. Do not just give a check because it's there. Because now, all of a sudden, you have a knight hanging, a queen hanging, you've got to defend the knight. So you come here, giving another check, and now you hung a knight. Now you only have a queen and a rook. Now you are still winning. But you see what I mean? Of course, the low elo playlist on this channel, if you haven't watched those videos, is designed to be chaotic and crazy, but there is a lot to learn from these games for beginners. And sometimes intermediates as well. Rook c7 is a great move. And the thing is, black is still completely lost practically because it's so hard to move a piece. Knight a6, right away, like literally on demand, the knight stops guarding the bishop, and it's not just that. I mean, it is checkmate. The king is boxed in amongst the queen and the rook. King g6, at this point, you should only be looking for checkmates because you are shutting the king off, so you got to give a couple of checks, like on h7, on g7, you will checkmate here by accident. Queen h7, king f6, right here. I mean, this is easy money. Easy money. This is what I don't understand about these 500s, right? Like, you give a check. You're so good at giving checks. You're like, you should be an Olympian for check giving. Knight f7. You look at you zipping around the board, losing your pieces like a psycho. And then when it comes time to actually deliver, like, how hard is it to see these moves? What happened? I thought you were an Olympian check giver. Why are you... The best part is, it doesn't even matter. It's still there. Okay? It's still there. You can even give it with the pawns. You can bring the queen back. Oh, we're eating pawns now. And again, the best part is, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. And longtime veterans of this playlist, the How to Lose a Chess playlist, are well aware of what's about to happen. You really are aware, you're well aware. Rook e8. There are so many combinations of checkmate in 3 in this position. So I can't even get into all of them. Rook g7, queen g4, f4. You can even give up the pawn with h4 because if rook takes, you take the rook. If king takes, it's queen g4. There are so many mates. Queen d5 is a check. Everything is a... You could probably play queen d6 and there's still mate in 3. Queen d5. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, just like you could take the pawn. You could give. I knew I just said not to take the pawn, but like at least it's a check. But what do we do? Cheat. Okay, finally, that's called weaving a mating net. Beautiful. I love it. You did it. Congratulations. Queen f5. GG. Now, not only did you not take the knight, which is just with the rook that just, not only did you not play a mate, you went here. And I think I get it. I think you're going to be taking here, even though rook g7, right? Okay. Boom. Look at that. Oh, you are clever. I mean, you are clever. Just beating up the opponent like a younger sibling. Just wailing on a younger sibling, you know, queen b4. Now here comes black. Black's not going to just fall over and die. All right. Black is going to create counterplay. I mean, there are a million checkmates swirling the white king. And by a million, I mean 0. None. Negative amounts of checkmates. Queen e7 check. You had like 20 checks you could have given in this position probably that didn't lose a queen. So you decided to hang the queen. That's what that's rook e7, rook e7. Now, okay, you are still up 4 pawns. 4 pawns. A lot of pawns. A lot of pawns. One of those pawns is probably going to become a queen. King f4, great move. In general, when you have very few pieces on the board like this, zipping in with your king is a good way to accidentally get checkmated. For example, rook a7, king f3, and look at this. Suddenly, this is a mate. Like, white's king is stuck. Now, what you do here with white is you try to protect both your pawns. So you play king g2, kick out the king, and then you start pushing your pawns up the board slowly. You don't go king f2 because it hangs 2 pawns. Just straight up. You play king f2 and you hang this and that, and now you're not even winning as far as I'm concerned. Definitely not at the 500 level. How have you played 40 moves in 3 minutes? This was a 10-minute game, right? Oh my god, it was a 10-minute game. It was a 10-minute game. Rook h2. And now d5, and that's it. Just king takes pawn, and out of nowhere, you lost all the pawns that you were up. You are pouring all of your energy and life into the pawn getting to d7, but you've lost all 4 of your extra pawns. Now it's a draw. It's a draw. It's a pretty straightforward draw. It's a straightforward draw because black runs the a pawn, white has to stop it, and then you just swap. So that's what's gonna happen. King f1, a5, king e1. Now rook d5, great move, by the way. Keeping the king cut off, pressuring the pawn, and the a-pawn's going. Now it's just a draw. e2, a4, king e3, a3, king e4, rook d1, king e5. But now, why did you... your pawn never moved. You just straight up let the pawn go all... Friendly reminder, just a friendly reminder, if we just back up like 20 moves, this is what the position looked like. Just a beautiful, luscious structure of pawns, queen and rook just connecting on the 7th rank like 2 batteries. And it's over. You can't queen. You can't give a check. You can't do anything. The newly minted queen goes and takes the rook. But instead of that, black spends 12 seconds on king f4. Okay, fine. Another check. Now this is checkmate, by the way. That's just mate. Just a mate. Obviously got this too, you got this. Got a lot of stuff here. Rook f1. This looks like you're giving up. This looks like white is just quitting. But believe it or not, rook f1 is a brilliant move. I mean, it's not a good move at the meta level, but at this level, it's genius. You know why it's genius? Of course, black is going to take the rook. And now white queens. Oh, that was smart. That was real clever. Deflect. Of course, here, you know, before you do this, you got to give a check. And then the king goes this way. And now you can take the rook with check. And now it's ladder mate, right? You just ladder mate. Rook f1, and I mean, now you're still losing, but at least one guy got a queen back. I mean, monkey, not for nothing, right at the end. Really classy stuff. I mean, you lose here in a million different ways, probably more. Queen a7, queen f7. The fastest way to win here is to play queen f7 and rook d1. Actually, technically, I think the fastest way to win here is to play rook f7, and now you have checkmates all over the place. Queen a7, king to d6. And now the move heard around the world from Vicher, rook f6 check. When faced with the proposition of rook to d1 winning the king, but winning the queen, or rook to f6 just straight up hanging it with 5.5 minutes on the clock, that move played in 3 seconds. Queen b6, queen f6 rather, queen a6. And my friends, all good games end in a draw. But not for the reasons you would think. Because black did not take the queen. Black went queen a3, king f7, and now they agreed to a draw. They agreed to a draw. And God help the both of them, because somebody would have definitely lost their queen. They would have lost their queen. An incredible game. Incredible game. And really, yeah, normally I end these on cliffhangers, but I mean, just a slugfest. I mean, if we could get a 10-game match between these two, I would watch. I really would. Shout out to them for putting on a show. Shout out to Chomps for sponsoring today's video. You guys know what you got to do. You got to click the link in the description if you want to check it out. That's all I have for you today. Thank God. I'm gonna get off the internet for today. Get out of here.